Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific North, fresh from the good to the bad to the Pinche Mariners.
To the only up 3.5 games in the AL West Mariners. 3 games now.
Houston won today.
Ooh,
Oh, man.
not fun.
Mariners lose their fourth consecutive series after dropping 2-3 to the Twins over the weekend. We had a short little breakdown that we've got for you. And we're a little negative last episode. And guess what? We want to be negative some more. So we'll be touching on some least valuable players to this point. And then we'll sprinkle a little optimism at the end with some guys that we think they're going to take a step forward before the All-Star break. But before we get into that, why don't I tell you a little bit about us? If you're looking for a guy that's going to bring the rain, maybe a Sean Kemp type, the Rain Man, because I'm going to rain on all of your parades today. If you're looking for the ruiner of parades himself, maybe you're looking
My
for a guy
God.
like me, your boy, Coach Red. You can find me on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red, and find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, leave a comment or two. And if you're looking for a guy, it might be a little Gary Payton. Very
Sure,
defensive,
dude.
but guess
Call me the
what?
glove.
Gary Payton isn't here no more. So no glove, no love, because there's not a whole lot of love for the Mariners coming from this guy tonight, and his name is
No.
Kane.
Yeah, I'm Kane. You can find me over on Twitter at Kane2406. Over on TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Follow us. Do it, freaking do it. Sorry, I don't have the energy today. I'm sick.
Sorry, I'll bring the energy
I mean,
for
I'm
now.
going to be a negative Nancy today because God, the Mariners have frustrated the hell out of me.
The offense had a
Abysmal.
you were hoping that once they got back home that you would see an uptick in offense, and Sunday was really the only time where you saw a whole lot of play on the base pass. But overall, scoring runs was difficult to do this weekend, and a lot of the runs were scored obscurely, to say the least. So let's go ahead and jump into Friday night's game. I believe that is a win in extra innings. Kane, hit us with that score.
3-2 Mariners. Yeah, I mean, this is a pitcher's duel, it seemed like, until the fifth inning. Put We finally played it one. Then we were losing because Correa hit a home run.
2-run dinger.
Yeah. And then all the chaos that happened in the eighth inning.
Well, Mariners' first run. What inning was that in?
The fifth,
Okay.
where Joshy Boy Rojas doubled the right and Mitch Haniger had scored.
So, weird one here. Mitch Haniger's at first. Rojas puts one right in the corner. It kind of bounces around there. And when they cut to Haniger coming around third, I'm like, oh, he's got plenty of time. Throws offline, and Vasquez really doesn't even try to make a play on the ball because Haniger's beat by 10, 15 feet. Easy. Ball gets by. They end up scoring the run there. Then you get Julio up with runners on first and second. Basically cues a ball off the end of the bat. Third baseman comes in. Luke Raley avoids the tag slash
Oh, that's
defender. He avoids the
right.
defender, not trying to avoid the tag, so they don't roll him out of the base path. They try to throw over, get Julio at first, throw it away. Luke Raley scores easily. Big conference call by the umpires debating on whether he's out of line. But with that, he's trying to avoid the defender that is right in the baseline, takes the inside track. So no harm, no foul. Mariners score there. Then you get into extra innings, and Julio does his part again. JP starts off at second base. Julio hits one up the middle, which moves JP to third. Then you get Cal Raleigh up, and they score this run with Cal Raleigh not hitting a ball past the mound. Pitcher goes and makes a play on it, makes an errant throw to home. I think if that throws on the money, it's going to be tough to get JP because he was going on contact, and it would have
Yes.
been bang, bang all the way around. When you really look at this game, you had one ball that was hit into the outfield, which shouldn't have been a run. and the other 2 runs scored on balls that didn't get further than 90 feet.
Yeah. So this offense is non-existent. I mean,
It was
yes, it's
weird.
a win. It's a win, and hey, you're feeling good. That's back-to-back wins now. You know, and then
Then Saturday happened.
yeah,
Kane hit me with that
Saturday
score.
5-1 Twins.
Mariners were never in this game.
No,
Bryce Miller started off. Was this the Bryce? Yeah, this is the Bryce Miller start. He started off with Hezzies early. He was kind of feeling himself early, then gave up a couple of runs. And then the Mariners just couldn't claw back. So you didn't see the cream of the crop in the bullpen like you saw the night before that locked it down. And just couldn't really hold up, a run here, a run there. And the Mariners really never got anything started in this game.
yeah, no. Let's see. The only run came from the early Mitch bomb that he
Yeah,
crushed.
Mitch Haniger solo shot. Welcome back, Mitch Haniger, clocking up that negative WAR just a little bit.
Yeah, and yes, the Mariners had 6 hits in this game, but they just they can't score people in scoring position. They leave all the chances out there and strike out at a stupid, ridiculous clip still.
Yeah.
So
Then you get into Sunday and you want to talk about a wacky game. Welcome to the
yeah,
wackiness that was this game. Luis Castillo gets the start on the bump. Kane hit me with that score.
5-3, Minnesota won.
So game starts out in the third inning, I believe. Mitch Garver is catching this game, gets plunked on the wrist, has to be removed. Cal Raleigh's DHing in this game, so they have to remove the DH. You get a Luis Castillo at bat in this game, but then you also get a lot more of just that chaosy type ball. So you've got, I believe it was a ground ball to the infield. Dylan Moore takes home, bang bang, gets called out originally. Catcher never touches him. Count the run.
Right. And
Then,
then
oh, you want to
Luke
get even weirder? Then you got, I believe the next one was
Luke Rayleigh.
Luke Rayleigh, who hits a ball where Santana goes after it, lays out, misses it. Second baseman makes a play. No one covering first.
Yeah, Santana's pointing to throw the ball to second. Second baseman doesn't like
You're not
has a
get
he has a
you're not
stroke.
getting the guy at second in that because
Right.
second baseman also laid out into the 4 hole. You're not getting it there. And then the very next at bat, ball gets hit to center field, and Platinum Glove winner Byron Buxton loses it completely in the sun.
Yeah. No, that was I don't think that scored a run because
Everyone had to hold up.
yeah, because Polanco singled and then tied the game. So then you're sitting there, you're like, oh, all right, this is Mariners baseball right here. They're at home. It's Sunday, and
Then you have to take Luis Castillo out because you got the bases juice with one out. Ryan Bliss gets his first at bat of the week and looks bad on 3 fastballs. Just couldn't catch up. The guy hasn't hit all week.
yeah, and that's another thing, Scott. You took your hottest hitter out of the lineup.
Polanco did not hit the single at this point in time. That was not in this because then Polanco popped out to end the inning. Later in the game, Polanco hits a screamer off the wall for an RBI single.
Yeah, and that's it.
But it's tough. I mean, Luke Rayleigh had a pretty solid day overall in this game. Julio got on base. I think the one where Demo scored, they called it a fielder's choice on Julio. I don't know how because no one got out, but it is what it is, right? So it was just a weird weekend of offense where the Mariners at home have usually done enough and been able to spread the ball around. But the Twins came in as a pretty hot team. They've been playing good baseball, and they played better baseball over the course of 3 days than the Mariners.
It's true.
And it
Let's
was just tough
see.
because you see your division lead dwindling, and the Mariners are still sitting there. I believe they're 10 games up over 500. Oh, I forgot to look at the percentage because that's the next thing that I do. Can do some filler, sing a song or something. Sing "Take Me
Uh,
Out to the Ball
I
Game"
also
or sing some
wanted
Macklemore.
Julio Rodriguez on the opening homestand. for the 3 game set because they have an off day today was 2 for 14. Very, very good to see. See that he's getting his hitting coach down on the field for hitting practice and batting coach of the Mariners and Edgar. And I'm pretty sure he's got Ichiro in there just trying to give him pointers. Like the
Well,
dude
and he
is
hit the ball
shoveling
hard on
hard.
Friday. He hit the ball pretty hard on Friday. It just didn't
Yeah,
result in base hits.
right. It
He smoked a single, I believe, up the box. He had 2 outs that clocked in over 100 exit velo. He's a little bit some bad luck ball, but it is what
it's
it
a
is.
lot of bad luck ball because over his last 12 games, he's like under 10 hits. I think he's at
Yeah,
7 or 8.
it's not great, but Mariners clock in at 54.7, so we round that up to a 55 winning percentage.
Yep.
Like I said, they still have the division lead. I believe after the game today, they are at a resounding 3-game lead, and they've got a tough opponent with the Orioles coming in to town, and then
Yep.
following that up with the Blue Jays, who have been peskier as of late after they lost like 10 in a row
And it's always hard to play them at T-Mobile Park.
because you get the Canadian invasion, but
Yep.
really interesting to see. Let's go to our picks to click. Over the weekend, I picked Julio, who did do some stuff, especially in Friday night, to put them in a position to win the game, even though they were a couple of outs. They were productive outs. And I believe he got the RBI on Sunday on the fielder's choice. So
Yeah.
a little bit better than Mitch Garver, who I think had one or no hits over the series and then got
And
plunked into
got
this.
injured. So I again lose.
Back to up 2 for your boy Coach Red. But
Yeah.
Kane, I will give you an opportunity to redeem yourself. Who is your pick to click this week?
I mean, I'm just gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna go with Cal Raleigh because every time I pick Cali, magically does something great. So Cal Raleigh is my pick. He's my safe bet, and hoping to get back on the winning side after this week. Coach Ed, who's your pick to click? No
Should
more
have a lot.
pitchers.
You
That stuff's dumb.
Yeah, you should have not a lot of competition for at bats because if Garver does miss some times, X-rays came back negative, so he may or may not miss time. But Zevi Zavala was pulled during the game on Sunday in anticipation that they might have to recall him up. And you know that with Zebi on the squad, they were playing with fire a little bit with that running 2 catchers. You're only 2 catchers, both in the lineup, and it came back to bite you. That's why you got to see Luis Castillo stare at 3 pitches right down the dick.
Yep.
So I think that I'm gonna go with a guy who I've picked before, and he got a lot of accountability after the game. And he said, "Look at me. On Friday night, I came up with runners on second and third, less than 2 outs, and I couldn't bring him in. And this is a guy that's been getting more play against left-handed and right-handed bats, and it's Luke Raley. It's a guy that I
I
want to be hitting third in this
yes.
lineup, and I think that he should be hitting third in this lineup because the combo of speed, contact, and power that he brings you is what you want in a 3 hitter, and he's your most consistent guy. And there have been a handful of bats where he'll come up and strike out on 3 pitches, maybe 4, but a lot of times he's battling. There was a big at bat, I believe it was in Friday's game, where he went 9 pitches, spoiled a lot of great ones, and then laced a double. So
Mm.
this is a guy that's gaining some momentum with more everyday play time. And I think that with Luke Raley, there are some lefties that they're going to be facing. He should be out there.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Luke Raley, and I'm getting behind your Luke Raley pick. I love it. The dude is a new face in the locker room, and I think the players have a lot of respect for him just because of the guy he is.
I would love
Uh,
for them to sign him to a 2-year extension right now.
I would too. I would too. So with Luke Raley, dude, he's probably out of all your platoon players, right? That he was, he's the best fielder outside of Demo.
He's not platooning anymore either.
No, but like I would much rather have him out there than a Dom Canzone or a Mitch Haniger.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the defensive play, Mitch Haniger is definitely taking a step back. He's still going to give you some quality at bats, even though he's running the lowest WAR on the team. I
Yeah.
think it's a lot of that's going to be attributed to the defense because I think some of his offensive numbers aren't as bad as other people's, and he hasn't been injured like some of the other people that are having subpar seasons. So
Yes.
I think that with Luke Rayleigh, I think that you have to have him out there. You can spread some DH bats around if Garver does miss time with the likes of Polanco and Haniger where you see fit. But
Yeah.
I'd also like to see a little bit more Ryan Bliss on the field.
Yeah. Again, like
Polanco
again,
did make some good defensive plays. Like he
but
made
not
one on
like
Friday that
not
was bonkers.
yeah, but let's Ryan Bliss has continually fascinated us in the field. When he does hit the ball, yeah, ball flies off his bat. That's for sure.
And he's
And
got the
you
element of speed.
and I get like his kind of takeoff trajectory with the Marlins and the Rays. Like Polanco coming back hurt that. So all right.
All right, Kane, we're gonna go. Let's rain on some parades. Let's go with some of our least valuable players, just because it's been a bad couple of weeks, right? We talked about the road series. We talked about the start of this homestand. It doesn't get easier with the Orioles coming into town. Granted, they did lose a series to Houston, so maybe a little bit of road woes could help out. But it's going to be a tough series. And then you throw in the Blue Jays, who last time they were here, last couple of times, we've done pretty well, but it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. But so far to this point of the season, when it comes to pitchers, who's your least valuable pitcher of the year?
My least valuable pitcher is Mike Bauman anytime he gets to the ninth inning. Because every time that he's tried to close out a game anywhere close to the ninth inning for us, disaster struck. And I don't like losing a lot. And Scott and his analytics team just kept thinking, hey, let's just keep throwing Bauman out there. So that's my little LVP for the pitchers there. Coach Red, who's yours?
This one's going to shock a lot of people out there, including you. My least valuable pitcher right now is Luis Castillo.
Oh, that you're not wrong. He's
Because
been awful on the road. He gives up two or more a
he's
start.
consistent in that. But this is a guy that going into the season, my second was Brian Wu, just because of availability. You've seen the stuff when he's out there, but having to take him out in third inning against the Rays, having to skip starts, moving guys around, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But the reason I'm going with Luis Castillo is because you know what we have seen from him over the course of the last year and a half full. And you have seen those appearances, and it sucks. It's kind of like the Robbie Ray thing, where he's built expectations up, and you
Yeah,
expect him to go out there and give you 7 innings or 6 innings where he's given up two or less runs, game in, game out, and he hasn't done that every single time. He's the guy that outside of Bryce Miller, who's sitting at about 1 year of service time, that you really don't know if you're going to get that win when he gets on the bump. You feel pretty confident right now with George Kirby and what he's done over the course of his last 6 starts. Same thing with Logan Gilbert. Those guys are young, emerging talents, but Luis Castillo is the rock, man. He's supposed to be the rock of your rotation. He's supposed to be the guy that
it's
everyone
your
looks
ace.
to. And when you are struggling with him on the bump, it doesn't help that the offense isn't scoring runs, but
No,
it also doesn't help when he doesn't drive any runs himself when he's up to bat.
like that because Luke Rayleigh did double before he got in the box. So, um,
I'm not
yeah,
I'm not including the at bat. That was a joke.
I understand that. But I can get behind you on that. He's been atrocious this year. He's
He's
had a
still
little
sitting
stretch
there
of
with
being good.
he's still sitting there with good numbers, but as the ace of one of the top rotations, top to bottom
Yeah,
in the league, you need a little bit more. And I expect him to ramp up as the year goes along. It's a long season, right? And there are
Mhm.
going to be guys over the course of the season that carry you in your pitching staff at different points in time. You're
But at a
seeing that with
point,
Logan Gilbert right now. You're seeing that with George Kirby. You're going to see it with Luis Castillo. The
yeah,
same thing
and
happened to Robbie Ray, right? Robbie Ray came out a little bit hot, then had about a month and a half of stinkers, and then would go 7 innings, 1 or 2 runs, put you in the game, a couple more stinkers, and then what you saw in the playoffs. But the guy was nails for 80% of the year. And you let, because of the aura around them, you let the negative kind of outweigh the positive that you're seeing. But he's sitting there with a damn near 500 record, if not below. And
you know,
he's got the second highest ERA out of your starters behind Bryce Miller, who's a
and
1 year player so far.
I wanted to kind of add on this. Strikeout numbers are down for him this year. They are down big this year because he's just not. The fastball has lost a couple notches, and he can't locate. His off speed hasn't been as good. His slider doesn't ever use it. I mean, he's a fastball sinker changeup guy now, and it's not good to be when you're an ace of a rotation. I had no problem too with him pitching on the road in years past. You know, when we got him, he went right into Yankee Stadium and battled Garrett Cole. And then he, in the playoffs in Toronto, comes out and shoves, throws at a dude, even, and went 7.
Mm-hmm. 7 of no run ball.
Exactly. And now it's just, I know he's going to give up too. It just is a matter of when he gives them up. If he gives them up early, he tends to not let up any after that. And then if he gives them up, it's like his last batter.
Yep.
So,
Very true. All right, let's switch it over to the offensive side of the ball. Kane, who is your LVP this year?
Mitch Garver, yeah, he's the only bat that you went out and signed, and you spent 20 million on him for 2 years, and he's hitting 172 with 8
And
home runs on the year.
most of his, like him in low leverage, is probably his best numbers, which still aren't good. And
Mm-hmm.
then when the leverage kicks up, I mean, the guys hit the walk off against Atlanta, and he cleared the bases in a tight game with the bases loaded. I think it was against Oakland.
Yeah, and this is a guy that hit third or fourth or fifth in a postseason run team.
The thing that really, I knew that the strikeouts were going to be there. I was expecting a little bit more consistency with the RBI numbers and the home run numbers, which he's still right there in terms of this team who somehow is, top 15 in baseball in home run numbers. And
They have
the
the
thing is,
worst
if
batting
I see him
average
take a
as a team.
first pitch fastball right down the middle and then end up flailing on an 0-2 off speed
Sweeper.
pitch nowhere near the zone, I'm going to pull my goddamn eyes out because I'm so sick and tired of him watching a strike when it's the best pitch that he gets the entire at bat. There are multiple times where he watches multiple fastballs in the middle of the zone go by and then swings at the worst off speed pitches.
I mean,
They're not even close.
it's about 80% of the team right now. So
Yeah, but he does it 80% more than the rest of them.
yeah, I can agree. The expectations are high. This is the first time in a long time that I felt that the Mariners have actually went out and got a decent hitter. He's a 265 hitter. And I would love that. But nah, he's just not lived up to the expectations that he set for himself, especially with this time that he's been playing with Texas.
I do like the beard mustache combo he's got going right now though. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. All right, coach. Who is your LVP for the hitters?
My LVP for the hitters is Jorge Polanco. You knew going into the season that injuries were a concern. Also with him and Garver, you knew that coming into the year, right?
Yep.
All the guys that you acquired on the hitting side, when you throw in Mitch Hanger, you knew that there was an expectation that those guys are probably going to get injured.
Yep.
But what you've seen with Polanco is yes, he can make a couple of pretty solid plays, but I think they're easier plays that Bliss makes
Yes.
all the time. And the power numbers really haven't been there. He's hit the ball hard at times, but hasn't been able to put it between the
Find
foul
grass.
poles.
You can't find grass, dude.
And I don't love his approach at the plate right now. I know that he's just coming back from injury, but you lost him for about a month, and you felt like the offense was doing better when he wasn't on the team.
And
We talked about it last week when we're talking about great lineup construction. For this team to be successful, he's got to be your two hitter. He can't be your two hitter right now. Best
no.
case, he's your seven hitter,
And
right?
they put him down there and he still doesn't do anything.
I
I
mean,
mean, this is a guy.
He
This is
ropes
a
one off the
guy
wall
that during a weekend in his rehab start hit 3 home runs.
in 2 days.
And you're sitting there, you're like, oh, that's nice to see. In Tacoma, which is not far from Seattle. And then he gets to T-Mobile. Nobody on our team can hit there right now. It is atrocious.
Well, I mean, the Mariners did out hit the Twins in the finale. They did.
But did they win?
No, they didn't. They left. The Mariners were
Like something for 14.
0 for 18 with runners in scoring position over the weekend.
Yeah. Not great. Not a great time.
Because I believe that on like the Cal walk-off, they called that a throwing error home.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure.
So they go 0 for 18 on the homestand with runners in scoring position. And when you look at the Mariners at home, they do a pretty good job of clutching up. But Polanco has really only done his dirty work and getting the hits in low leverage situations. When the game is getting closer to on the line, it's pop up or strikeout or rolling the ball over to the second baseman. And it's tough when you look at his career numbers. You knew that the injury was going to come into play, but this is a guy that is always consistently hit the ball hard and hit for a very solid average in today's MLB. And he is yet to do that for this
He's
team.
also under 200 on the year. So, not something you love to see.
All right, let's stop being negative Nellies here. Let's put a little optimism in at the end of this episode. Kane, when it comes to pitchers, who is the guy that you think will take some strides and be a little bit of a bright spot between here and the All-Star break?
You got to give some shouts out to the hometown kid. I think.
Oh yeah, Austin Voss, baby, let's go.
Sauce.
Oh,
Sauce. Got to give my lefties. Got to give my lefties some love.
Stick together.
Because he has not looked great recently. He hasn't also gotten a lot of run recently.
Well, he also has been, on the road trip. He was the king of one pitch, one out.
Yeah, but I just feel like as of late, the numbers aren't there. You're not getting a lot out of him right now. As you said, one pitch, one out, and then does he come out the next time the defense takes the mound? No, that's what I thought. So yeah, great, but I still see the run's been given up a lot. He had that one little stretch of being solid, and it's just been a lot of teetering for me. So I think he can come out from here till the All-Star break and give you that lefty presence that we don't have right now. So give me some sauce on that. Coach Red, who do you got for a pitcher?
I wasn't going to tell you any of the pitchers. I wanted to surprise you. Logan Evans. He's not even on the roster right now.
He's going to be soon.
So Logan Evans, over the weekend, through his first back-to-back games. Since moving to the reliever role, I believe he's given up 1 or 2 runs. The strikeout numbers aren't as prolific as being a starter, but he is still getting a lot of play with the strikeout. And this is a guy that I think when you couple him, I think he comes up before the All-Star break. You're looking at getting Gregory Santos, who is scheduled to start his rehab assignment tomorrow. So I think that you get him in before you can lose some guys like Bizardo.
And then not to mention the dude that's in AAA right now who threw his option out to be like, hey, you either move me or you release me.
Well, and you've got two open spots on the 40 man, so you probably bring him up because Bizzardo has just been the mop up guy who's not very good at mopping stuff up, or just the guy that you throw out there.
When
You've
you're
also
losing
got
bad.
Colin Snyder and Nick Bolton who have had up and down
Yeah.
appearances throughout. So I mean, there's some guys. I think that Bauman stays on this team just because he can give you a couple innings, and when he is on, he's almost unhittable. But
Yep.
then there's the other games where he is not on, and he is very hittable. But I think that Logan Evans is a guy that is going to make a that jump like you saw with Edwin Diaz, former starter in Double A, gets moved to the bullpen, gets brought right up and start seeing some leverage situations. Luckily, when you have Santos coming in, when you have Stanek, who's been pretty darn solid outside of Sunday's game where he gives up a 2-run bomb, right? This is a guy that in his last 12 appearances gave up 3 runs in one appearance and was lights out the rest of it. You got Munoz, who's fluctuated a little bit. I think he's dealing with a little bit more pain. When he finished pitching in Tampa Bay, I thought that he was going to hit the IL because he was coming out popping 95 on his fastball. Brought it back a little bit over the weekend, but still a little bit shaky. So it's a little bit softer landing for Logan Evans on the big ball club because you also have Gregory Santos who's going to be in the mix too just shortly after he comes up to the bigs. So
Yeah.
with Diaz, it was like, all right, Diaz, you're going to get a couple appearances. Oh, now he's our setup guy. Oh, now he's our closer by the end of the year. You want
Yeah.
get that with Logan Evans, but I think that he can be that guy too. That Brian Wu has to leave a start early. You go to Evans. You can get 5 innings out of him if you need it. He can
Or
be a
he
guy
can
where you
spot
can
start.
ratchet it up.
Or you can spot start him.
Exactly. And he's already
So
he's already there.
yeah. So I like it. I like it.
All right, Kane, for your hitter, who do you think is the guy that's going to take a little bit of a step forward here?
I mean it has to be Polanco, right? It has to be because he's gonna be this key part, I think, in a trade. I think you're gonna give him another fresh start,
He's either going to be
but
a trade. You need him to ramp up to potentially include him in a trade, or if he's harpooned his numbers, you need him to step up to be that guy, or else you might have to DFA,
and just forfeit the money. Yeah.
which John Stanton won't like that. That dude loves that money. Did you see all that money he got on the Dallas Keuchel trade?
Like I heard it was $1.
It was one whole dollar.
And then he proceeded to give up 5 in his first major league start of the year.
Hmm? But the
Oh,
Brewers won that game against the Rangers. Thank you, Dallas Keuchel.
yeah. Oh. Also, you love to have you been seeing all that Jared Kelenic stuff right now? That like Mariners fans are like, oh, Jared Kelenic would be our best player. Well, here's the thing: Jared Kelenic is in a lineup that is full of hitters, and yes, he's leading off, so he's probably getting a lot of first pitch fastballs down the middle of the cop. Like,
Took,
what do you want?
took Paul Skeens Yahtzee.
Yeah, I mean, you leave a fastball over the plate, he's gonna hit it, and he's their leadoff guy. I mean, what do you want? He's only starting every day because Ronald Acuna's not. So yeah, Jared Kelenic, good for him. I'm happy for him.
And you're
So
happy for Polanco to take that step forward.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I would hope so. I would really hope so because if we don't trade him, you need him, right? You do need him, but I do think he's going to be part of a trade. It's him or Ty France. So, Coach Red, who's your hitter that's going to be our saving grace?
I was thinking about taking Ryan Bliss, but I think that you are going to see Polanco still get a little bit of run. I think that if he does get traded, that it's probably going to be for first baseman or corner outfielder. I don't think that he's going to be a key piece in like going and getting Bo Bichette. You know, we've
Right.
seen the Nico Horner stuff come out, but that could be Polanco and, a mid prospect. But go ahead and give me Dylan Moore, my boy, because I think you are going to see with Polanco coming back, you're seeing him platoon a little bit more at third, his ability to play in the outfield. It'll be interesting to see with Garver hitting the if he does hit the IL, I think that you're going to see Mitch
Mitch
against
Haniger
lefties
will
get
not see the field.
some play. And I think that the enigma that is Dom Canzone, where he looks great one day and looks like it's his first time on a professional field the next day, I think
Yeah.
that you get a lot more complete at bats with Dylan. He clocks in with the triple yesterday. He's a guy that in spurts he can do big things. When he gets extended playing time, you see him kind of regress to his mean. But if you can run him out there, for a couple starts a week and he can be hot, and then he has one cool down game, you let him sit for a day or two and then comes back out and gets hot again, I think that guy is the key glue piece to this team with the
Mhm.
variety of positions that he can play. With whatever deal is to be made, this guy still has a spot in the team unless he's part of that package that goes the other way, right? If you get like a Jazz Chisholm, I think that Dylan Moore is the perfect guy to go back as part of that trade as a major league ready guy, because he can play outfield or infield for you.
Yeah, and with Demo too, as we were kind of saying, like if Mitch goes on the DL, then Haney will DH probably just solely. I don't think that Mitch Haniger should be in the field at all. So I think if Mitch Haniger is going to hit, he should only DH, and that should be on the days that Garver's behind the dish. So you're giving Cal the entire day off, or when you're giving Garver the day off because he caught the day before. That is
Yeah.
the only time Mitch Haniger should be in your lineup,
I
in
could
my
see him
opinion. And
one
Demo
day
should,
one day a week in the field max, because you want
if
to keep him
that,
moving around.
right,
But
but if that, because I would much rather have Dom Canzone diving left and right out there, making crazy grabs,
yeah,
or
but
Demo.
I don't want to see, like, right now, I don't want to see Dom Canzone at the dish. Like, he had
Oh,
one big game against Tampa, and outside of that, it's been rough, man. They
it
didn't even
was.
go
I
to
think it
him
was
in pinch hit
Miami, dude.
situations against righties
No, they didn't.
yesterday. When
They
you
did
when you
not.
had Luis Castillo in the game, Dom Canzone was
Ryan
teed up.
Bliss was the first one off the bench.
See, the
Like,
reason I thought that they went with Ryan Bliss, because I thought that they would potentially, because that was with one out. Polanco was the next guy. I thought that they could potentially remove Polanco to extend a little bit further on when the pitcher spot was coming back up, going old school NL rules. But they didn't do that. And Haniger, I believe, got an at bat in there as well. But it was just Canzone wasn't to be seen. I think Haniger came in against righty, wasn't even a lefty.
yeah. So I do like the Demo kind of excelling at this because he's done it before a couple times.
Yeah, when he gets hot, I mean, it's electric to this team.
Yeah,
It's not at the level when Julio's hot, but I would say when Dylan gets hot, I think that the team really rallies around him quite a bit. I mean, when
yeah,
he's been on his hot streaks, the team typically does pretty well.
yeah. I mean, like, like JP, he could have been a point in case for this, but he's on the uptake right now. I
Mhm.
mean, his average is climbing,
Dude,
and
him and Rayleigh are probably our two most complete hitters right now. Rojas
yeah,
is at least putting in big competent at bats. Julio, even though the power numbers aren't there, even though the batting average isn't there, there's a lot more of him extending counts. You're not seeing him chase as much. You are seeing him take walks. He took a walk on Friday night where he was hoping to get a hit. He fouled off a couple of pitches that he probably should have put in the stands. And usually in late inning situations, Julio is jacked to get a walk. He was visibly upset that he took a
and
walk.
this is a guy that doesn't get mad on the field.
Not on a walk. He's usually trying to get the dugout hyped up. And it's a bad juju. We need to get Mike Cameron in there. We need to get Serrano from the, sorry if this offends anyone, the Cleveland Indians from Major League. He needs to get the incense in there. We need to
You
do
know,
something with the voodoo, because
I
it's bad juju right now.
so big shouts out to JP Crawford, by the way, for last night throwing a team party.
I didn't get the
Pictures,
my invite must
pic,
have got lost in the mail.
yeah, pictures floating around X or AKA Twitter, and it just looks like the team is having a good time.
I think
And
that this
I,
team has a great team dynamic.
yeah, they
They're
just need to learn
just
how to hit the ball.
and the thing is all of these guys at point in time in their careers have been, with the exception of, I would probably say, Demo, Canzone, for lack of a better term, have all been above average hitters.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And
Yeah.
Robles, I'm going to also include Robles in that bunch, right? But every single one has been an above average hitter at some time. You know, misery loves company. And man, that house was packed at JP with some misery. I mean, they put some smiles on their faces. And I hope that this was a time where it's like, hey, had a bad road trip. This homestand didn't start. We got an off day tomorrow. It's just us and the boys. We've got each other's back, because you've heard all season from every single person on any interview. This is one of the closest knit teams. And you've heard that from Cal Raleigh, who's been part of some really close knit teams. I do think this team is close. I do think these guys extremely enjoy each other. They revel in each other's success, but they just need to piece together another good stretch to get this rolling again and get off the schneid.
Yep. And get a lead back against Houston, because they're coming.
Yeah, and you could be coming to follow us if you went over to social media. You can find me, your boy, Coach Red, on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, leave a comment or two. Kane, where you at?
You can find me over on Twitter at Kane2406, on TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Pause. Do it, freaking do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.